Afternoon, guys. So, as some of you know, at least via Facebook, I've been posting quite a bit of things on there pertaining to the topic lately. Probably for the past year-ish, I've been doing quite a bit of research on 18th century, and I've had some questions, Sarge, why the 18th century? So I wanted to take an opportunity and start out this series and answer some questions first of all. So why the 18th century for me is, kind of a few things, and probably the biggest reason is through my research coming up in the Pathfinder system. We have some mandatory readings that you have to do. So one book in particular, really piqued my interest. I've just finished it for the second time. It was that good, I'll probably end up reading it again. But for those of you that have been following me, pretty much from the start, 6 years ago, whatever it's been now, I've always said I like traditional. I've always leaned towards traditional, even though, I use modern technology things and the latest and greatest gear as well. My style has always leaned towards traditional, and there's a lot of different time periods that are good, without a doubt, but the 18th century for me, and why I'm choosing to go the route I am, is people of the time and of the period, having come over here and went on the movement westward and things like that. You get the long hunters, the explorers, and there was a lot of different people in that group. I think that people don't realize, especially if they're not into this type of thing. It wasn't just the long hunters that went on these excursions, expeditions. One of the primary factors of the time was land. It wasn't the fur trapping and the hunting for hides and pelts and things like that, though that was a part of it. The biggest thing, at least from my research so far that I've found, is land was the biggest thing. So anyway, back to the topic. What I liked about a lot of those folks during that time is they were very self-sufficient. Jack of trades, master of none, if you will. And there was, different skilled folks that, performed, a skilled task in a certain area, but a lot of those guys that, the long hunters, so to speak, and folks like that, who in reality were just, farmers and poor type people looking for adventure and, looking for the big paycheck. Others running away from the law and things like that as well. But again, they were real self-sufficient, and I like that. And I think nowadays, the big survival theme, it's still pretty booming. And it was probably 2 or 3 years ago is when I started leaning more towards long-term, wilderness living type stuff, because even at that point, I think that a lot of the short-term survival stuff has pretty much been beaten to death. A lot of people are doing it, and that's great, but because it was so there and in your face, I wanted to, take my channel and what I do a different route, and again back to the traditionalism of things, and long-term type stuff is kind of the way I started going. Keeping in mind that I do have my school and I teach survival as well, so I have to keep on that too, because there's always newcomers, and they need to learn. They're eager, just as we were when we started. So again, the 18th century for me, more along the lines of self-sufficient and being able to do things on your own to maintain yourself in your situation. And the people of that time period in particular, to me, were masters at that. So throughout this series, I'm hoping to do a lot. You know, I'm not going to promise anything, but we'll go through some of the dress that I'm wearing, some of the gear, some of the accoutrements that go with it, as well as making a lot of that stuff on video to show you guys, you know, what I'm doing. Because it's one thing to go ahead and buy all the latest and greatest gear, or even, you know, the outfit I have on now was purchased, but I intend on making all my own stuff, and there's something to be said about that. You know, again, yeah, you can go out and spend a fortune on the latest and greatest gear, but if you had to, could you make it yourself? You know, and I think that kind of separates, you know, the men from the boys, so to speak. So I'm going to be going that route. So like I said, we've got some snow falling down the chimney. So like I said, you know, in future videos to come in the series, I'd like to talk about, you know, some of the clothing, you know, which persona, which is another question I've had, you know, what time period and what persona are you looking to do? And I really, honestly, didn't have anything in mind at first. So, you know, there's kind of a big time period there with, you know, there's a lot of cool things that you could do and different ways you could go with it. So we'll get into that in another video. We'll talk about, you know, my thoughts on what I want to do. But again, in making clothes, making gear, stuff like that, I got some plans out back with some other things, you know, that are going to be outside, kind of on the homestead theme to go with this series. Just a lot of different things. Again, I don't want to promise you guys anything, you know, time permitting and all that stuff. Hopefully it's all going to work out. I'm pretty excited to do it. So again, just wanted to take a minute and kind of share with you guys some things I've been putting on Facebook, if you're not on Facebook, so you know what's going on and things you can expect in the future, and you know, answer the question, you know, why the 18th century for me anyways. So I appreciate you guys joining me for this quick one, and I'm looking forward to shooting a lot more in this series, and hopefully you're looking forward to watching them. So until the next one, take care guys.